Welcome to the session. The program is for BCom and the subject is Computer Application for Business and E-commerce. So it's the first session. The session topic is computer and data processing. The learning objectives of the session is to learn what a computer is and to understand what data processing is and the methods of data processing. The session outcomes are students will know what is a computer and students will know what the data processing is and some of the methods of data processing. So first we'll see what a computer is. See, a computer, it's an electronic device, so that receives the input, it stores it, and it processes the input as per the user instructions and provide the output in the desired format. So the three things that will be performed in a computer is that it receives the input. Okay, the input that is being received is stored, or you'll process the input that is received as per the instructions, as per the user instructions, and we provide the output in the desired format, in whatever format we require. So the output will be produced in that format. So mainly your computer, it's an electronic device, so which actually receives the input, it processes the input, and it produces the output. So we can also say that your computer is just a machine which has been programmed to carry out the sequences of arithmetic or logical operations automatically. So we will perform the arithmetic or the logical operations. So mainly it's just a machine which has been programmed so that we can carry out, that is, arithmetic or the logical operations. So we'll see how the term computer was derived from. So here the term computer, so it is derived from your Latin term called the compute. Okay, here the compute means it is to calculate. Okay, so initially when the computer system it was designed, it was mainly designed to calculate. So it was intended to be the computing device. Okay, so over the period of time, what happened was this device, so it technically got advanced, and at present, so it can perform a wide range of desirable works apart from the data processing. So modern computers, so at present the modern computers, so they can perform the generic set of operations which we call it as the programs. So here the programs, they will enable, these programs will actually enable your computers so that they can perform the wide range of tasks. So here the computer system, it is, you can say, it is a complete computer when it actually includes other things, like it should have the hardware, so it should have the operating system, that is your main software, then you have the peripheral equipment should be there. All these things are required and it should be used for the full operation. So this term, so what we have, so you can refer it as the group of the computers where this has been linked and they will function together. So when there is a group of computers and this computers has been linked and they function together, so this kind, we call it as the computer network or the computer cluster. Okay, main thing is, when you say your computer system, it's a complete computer in the sense it has to include certain things, like it should have the hardware, the operating system which is your main software, and you should have the peripheral equipments which is needed, and it should be used for the full operation. So next we'll see about the data processing. See, data processing means, so the collection, manipulation, and processing the collected data for the required use, it is known as your data processing. So the three things that we do is the collection of your data, manipulation and processing of your collected data. So these three things, they are required for the use. This is known as your data processing. So it is the technique which has been normally performed by your computer. So here this process, it actually includes, that is a retrieving, transforming or classification of the information. So main things that we do is that you retrieve the data. If you want to transform that is data into some things, so you can use the transforming, or then you can have the, like, you can classify the informations. See, whatever the data that is being collected, the data will be processed, then you get the information. Okay, so classification of information also can be done. So main thing is in a data processing, so here the collection, the manipulation and the processing of your collected data, so it is for the required use, that we call it as the data processing. See this, the processing of data, so it actually depends on certain things. So what are those is that, one, we have the volume of the data that actually needs to be processed. Okay, see, when you're performing the processing of data for the large amount of data, so here we take the volume of the data, what is the volume of the data that should be processed, and the complexity of the data processing operations. So the what your, what is the complexity that lies for your data processing operations. Then we have capacity and inbuilt technology of respective computer system. So for the computer system that we are using, so what is its capacity and what is its inbuilt technology, even that will matter. And the technical skills, and what is the time constraints in which the large amount of data can be processed. So there are certain things when you're processing your data, so it mainly depends on these five things. One is the volume of the data which has to be processed, and the complexity of the data processing operations we have, and you have to see what is the capacity and the inbuilt technology of the computer system that we are using, and what the, and regarding your technical skills and the time constraints. So next we'll see some of the methods of the data processing. So, in the methods of data processing, we have single user programming, multiple programming, real time processing, we have online processing, then time sharing processing, and distributed processing. So, these are the few methods of data processing that has been available. We'll see one by one. The first one is the single user processing. So here single user processing means it is usually done by a single person. Okay, a single person for his own personal use. So a single person will do this. Okay, so this technique, it is mainly suitable even for your small offices. Okay, so it is usually done by a single person for his own personal use. That is called your single user programming. The second one is the multiple programming. So for this multiple programming, so here this technique actually provides the facility where you can store and execute more than one program in the CPU, that is simultaneously. Okay, so what you can do is, so you will store and execute, that is more than one programs at a time, that is simultaneously you can execute the programs, that is more than one programs, that is in your CPU. So the multiple programming technique, this will actually increase the overall working efficiency of the computer. So whatever computer, so if it is a multiple programming, so in this case, so the overall working efficiency will be increased. The next method of your data processing is the real time processing. So in the real time processing technique, so it mainly facilitates the user to have the direct contact, that is with your computer system. So where you can have, so user will have the direct contact, that is with your computer system. So this technique actually uses your data processing. And this technique, it is also known as your direct mode. You can call this as the direct mode or the interactive mode technique. So this real time processing technique, what we have, we call this as the direct mode or the interactive mode technique. And it is developed exclusively, that is to perform one task. Okay, so it is mainly developed where you can exclusively perform just one task. So it is like a sort of your online processing, so which always remains under the execution. The next kind of processing is the online processing. So this technique, that is your online processing technique, so this will facilitate the entry and the execution of the data directly. So it mainly facilitates when the entry and the execution of your data uh, takes place. Okay, so that it does not store, or you'll accumulate first and then process. Okay, so you'll not just store it or accumulate it at the first and then store it. It will facilitate when the entry and the execution of your data takes place. So this technique, it has been developed in such a way that, so this will reduce your data entry errors. So any data entry errors are there, so that data entry errors will be reduced. And this technique is mainly developed so that it reduces your data entry errors, as it will validate your data, that is at the various points. So you'll be validating the data at the various points, and it will also ensure that only your correct data is being entered. So this kind of technique, so it is being widely used for your online applications, for the online applications. So this technique, it's been widely used, that is the online processing technique. So the next method of the data processing is the time sharing processing. So this time sharing processing, it is another form of your online data processing. Okay, so which will mainly facilitate several users, that is to share your resources of an online computer system. So there will be many users, so several users will share the resources, that is of your online computer system. So it is this time sharing processing, you can say it is the another form of your online data processing. And this technique, it has been adopted when your results are needed very swiftly. Okay, and as your name suggests, okay, so this system, it is actually time based. Okay, so there are some of the advantages of your time sharing processing. So that is like, you can have, there are several users, they can be served simultaneously. So several users, so they can share the resources, so you can serve the several users, that is simultaneously. And all these users, what they have is the equal amount of processing time. So there will be an equal amount of the processing time, and there is a possibility of interaction, that is with the running programs. So there will be an interaction which will takes place, that is with your running programs. So the last method of the data processing is the distributed processing. So here it is a specialized data processing technique, so in which various computers, so they remain interconnected with a single host computer. So where you are making a network of computer. So in the distributed processing, what you do, so you make a network of computers. So here in this technique, so there are various computers, so they are located remotely. Okay, so the computers has been located remotely, and they remain interconnected. How? With a single host computer, one single host computer jothe they will be interconnected, and they make a network of computer. So that is called your distributed processing. So we have learned about the computer and the data processing in this session, what a computer is and what data processing is, and few of the methods of the data processing. So these are the references. Thank you.